D, deliberate and act on an MOU between the Colfax County Board of Commissioners and the Raton Police Department. Mr. Berry.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, what you have in front of you is a memorandum of understanding between the County Board of Commissioners and City of Raton, the Police Department, and it basically goes into some detail of how we can share resources in the area of law enforcement. And given that we have two small agencies, it makes a lot of sense to have an agreement like this, to assist each other when that need is there, and to share those resources. And we do have Chief Garcia on hand if you have any specific details of the MOU, but absolutely something that we have done in the past. I think the cooperation between the two agencies is very good. Currently, a very good working relationship. Definitely, you have our recommendation to approve this memorandum of understanding.
Do you have any questions for either City Manager Berry or Chief Garcia?
Chief, in the meeting, if you had the county or county communication.
Talk on our primary channel, so that's what we would use for communication. As far as major incidents go.
Okay. Kind of thought you might have confirmed it.
Any other questions?
No questions. After reading the, after reading the memorandum of understanding, I think it's a good deal, and we've had it in the past. I've gone over it extensively, and I find nothing wrong with it. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding between the two agencies.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the MOU between Colfax County Board of Commissioners and the Raton Police Department. All in favor, vote by the sign.
Aye.
Aye. All approved, same sign. Deliberate and act on the resolution 2015-08, application for the municipal arterial program not fiscal year 2015.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, we had talked about this application at the last meeting, and we had asked the Commission to consider submission of an application to Department of Transportation for resurfacing of Hospital Drive. And that roadway was initially built around 1990. We've got more than 20 years of service out of that. What we anticipate is that we would remove the top layer of asphalt by a milling process and then replace that with new asphalt. We anticipate a request of total amount of $100,000, $75,000 from DOT, $25,000 from City of Raton. The application is due on March 16th, so with your approval of this resolution, we will have that submitted.
Questions or
Mr.
comments?
Berry is just paving, that's all, no concrete work at all?
I think that we're in pretty good shape as far as concrete work out there. I think we have some areas where we have buildup of sediment, and we're involved cleaning that up. If we saw something like curb and gutter that we needed to replace, that would be included in this. I think that would be minor concrete work, and I don't really know of that need out there. But if we see that out there, yeah, that would be included.
Mr. Berry, will this address the significant dip there going to the hospital?
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, as we talked about last time, we anticipate an application through the Cooperative Agreement Program for that specific intersection. That program did not require this resolution, so that application will also be submitted this week, and that will be a separate application to fix that intersection of Card Avenue and Hospital Drive, commonly called the dip.
Yes, the dip. I'm very familiar with the dip. All right, any other comments?
I'm very glad that this is going to happen.
Absolutely. Well, I will make a motion then that we approve resolution number 2015-08, the application for municipal arterial program fiscal year 2015-2016.
And I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, vote by the sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. Item D, deliberate and act on a public celebration permit for Raton Main Street's annual Spring into Hops and Vine event on April 11th, 2015, Taos Mesa Brewery. And fellow commissioners, if it's all right with you, I'd like to combine item D and E. It's basically the same event. E says to deliberate and act on a public celebration permit for Raton Main Street's annual Spring Hops and Vine event, April 11th, 2015, Las Nueve Niñas. So if you don't have any problems with that, I'd like to do this together if we could.
It's fine.
I think it's fine. Looks like everything that they have their insurance, everything's in place, so anything to do with little wine tasting and beer tasting, I'm for. So I'd like to make a motion that we act and deliberate on both the Taos Mesa Brewery and Las Nueve Niñas, and make it as one motion, please.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt, to accept the permit for the Raton Main Street Annual Springs into Hop and Vine event, covering both Taos Mesa Brewery and Las Nueve Niñas.
I'll second that
We have a
motion.
second. Then, all in favor, vote by the sign.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Item F, Department Report, Raton Fire and Emergency Services. I'm guessing that's why Chief Mathews is here.
That's why I'm here.
All right.
Good evening, Pro Tem Commissioners. Thank you for having me. Come a long reach over there. A few weeks ago, Mr. City Manager asked me to do a presentation to let you know what's going on with the fire department, what some of our plans are, and to tell you where we are and where we're going. Kind of need to start with where we've been.
If I can help you in any way,
I
I'd
would
be
love that.
fine to hit it.
Okay, you go ahead and advance
Jason's
that one.
good at pushing the button.
And the department started back in 1891. It was just fire department that time. We weren't doing all the extra stuff we're doing now. And primarily, it was just putting out fires. And that's what everyone expected. Up until about 1965, when a publication called the White Papers came out, and it started EMS, medical services, with the fire departments. And then 72, paramedics started, fueled also by the series Emergency. Raton got its first paramedic in 2001, and we currently still have paramedic service. And then, also, we have continued to evolve, and we're doing hazmat this time. In fact, in '96, we really took off with my predecessor, Chief Pasquale. He was really passionate about hazmat. We got into a whole lot of varieties of hazmat, and that pretty much brought us up to date. So yes, we're still doing fire, medical, hazmat. Yeah. And of course, when you do think about us, you do think about fire. Obviously, that is the El Portal. If some of you may remember, it was originally called, back in 1905, the Seaberg Hotel. Okay. That fire there was November 9th of 2012. We spent basically 2 days putting that out. And we don't just put out the fires. When possible, we also do salvage and overhaul, try to protect the property of the people. Of course, life safety, get them out first of all. Post-fire, we try and secure the building, keep it safe, keep the people safe, keep the belongings that are still in there safe. We'll try and help the people dislodged by the fire. We'll call Red Cross Salvation Army, try and get them a place, some clothes, maybe some money and food to get back on their feet. And of course, we'll follow up for safety. But more important than putting out the fire and helping afterwards, prevention, education. Try and keep that fire from ever starting. Additionally, we now do pre-plans. That is going to every business in town and looking through it, getting a floor plan, finding where the utilities, nearest hydrants, what the hazards are, everything like that. Fire inspections. For the last 2 years, the state has been doing fire inspections here in Raton. Last week, I got an email from the Deputy State Fire Marshal that we are now doing fire inspections again. Okay? So it's now back in our lap. In fact, I did one this morning. I have another one to do tomorrow. Both are commercial, and we also do residential. If a property owner wants us to come out, and we've done it quite often in the past, we'll come out and go through their personal residence, their home, and give them recommendations. I started doing this back in California, primarily because of earthquakes, and kind of evolved into fire and just general safety altogether. Might recognize that from June 12th, 2011. That was a track fire. So besides structure fires, we also do wildland fires. That was 27,792 acres that burned on that day. The cost was $7.5 million. One of the plans, which I will talk about in a little bit, will help either prevent or reduce the size of fires like that. Urban interface, where the homes meet the wildland. We're going to be talking with them. And we still do flyers, door-to-door, walking around, giving suggestions. That's going to be part of a plan that we're hoping to implement into the town here shortly. Prevention, control burns, abatement, controlling burn permits, letting people know where and when they can burn, and the RMP. RMP stands for Regional Mobilization Plan. It's a state group of departments that have joined together to fight large fires. If there's a fire down in Silver City, they can call us up and we will send equipment and personnel down, if we have it available, to assist with their fires. And it's a two-way street. They will come up and help us. And it's not just limited to New Mexico. Some of those pictures are from California. And one of the nice parts about this, the city gets paid for the time and equipment that we do send out. And we'll touch on that in a little bit also. Okay. Talking about medical, 3 out of 4 of our calls that we go respond to are medically related. We respond to 911 calls, medical emergencies, traumatic events, childbirths. My first year here, I was fortunate enough to help a mother deliver her child out in the field, making me feel old because that child is now in high school. Interfacility transfers, quite often, almost daily, we have to transfer a patient from MCMC Hospital up to Denver, down to Albuquerque, over to Amarillo, to Towson, every hospital in between. We are constantly on the road. That's the reason why we seem to go through ambulances quite often. Simple things, lift assist, welfare checks, and we also now have for about a year now, a key lock box. It hangs on your door. The people can put their key in there. We supply this at no charge. It's a combination, I guarantee you, it's easier to break the door down than to break into that lockbox. But it lets us into their house when they can't get to the door. And that is free to anyone in the city who needs it. And what are we doing all this medical with? We have 9 EMT basics, 2 advanced. They can start IVs and do a few more drugs. And currently we have 1 paramedic. What type of training does all that take? A basic is 120 hours plus 10 hours of clinical. EMT intermediates are 180 hours plus 120 hours of clinical. And a paramedic is 1,800 hours plus clinicals and an internship. Okay. Next slide. Hazmat. one of the last of the big three items we mentioned a while ago. There are 3 levels of hazmat, and we have all 3 in our staff: awareness, operations, and technicians. Technicians are the ones in the bottom left corner, the ones that actually get into the moon suits, go in and stop the leaks, clean up the spills. Additionally, we do WMD, weapons of mass destruction. RAT, we are trained in RAD nuke. And if you recognize that truck pulling the trailer on the top right corner, that's WHIP. We're trained to handle a WHIP accident. Those are carrying not necessarily radioactive items, but it's the tools that worked on the radioactive items. So they're moderately dangerous, but we've been trained, and there's really no problem handling that. And also, we are one of 5 regional hazmat response teams in the state. Next slide. Public education, high on our list. Each October, we do Fire Prevention Week, where we'll go to all the elementary schools, give each of the kids a goodie bag with some safety prevention. We'll give them a talk. Usually we'll show them a video, and we'll go with them and do some things: stop, drop, and roll, how to crawl, check doors, and try to put that into their mind, what to do in case of a fire. Meeting places, everything. Okay? We have 6 CPR instructors on our staff. Every month we do 1 to 3 CPR classes for the public, other departments, whoever requests it. We do fire extinguisher classes. Every business in town are required to have fire extinguishers. We do classes for them. In fact, with ISO and fire inspection, they're supposed to have training. We can take care of that training for them. Health fairs, first aid classes, and we have on staff a instructor with UNM who can teach in-house refreshers, CEs, transitions, EMT basic classes, and EMTI classes. Saves a lot of time, money, and resources being able to do it here. Okay. Mentioned the home inspection and the key boxes. We also do station tours for schools, private individuals, travelers, special groups, and stranded folks. Remember a couple of years ago, trains were running late. In fact, they had a damaged or a broken down train, and a group of about 30 scouts got stranded here. Well, they ended up coming to the station. We gave them a little tour, gave them a place to spend the night because it was about 8 hours delay for the train, and they just made a whole evening of it. We all had a good time that night. Okay. Some of the other things that we do: city emergency planning. Okay. City hazard mitigation plan. We just got that submitted up to, or actually down to Santa Fe. It's going through the New Mexico Homeland Security Office, and then it'll be passed on to FEMA, and with its approval, I hope, we will be able to apply for assistance grants and other things to help the town. Next one, planning and zoning. We took over planning and zoning January of 2017. Last year we issued 55 permits. We reinstated the monthly planning and zoning meeting. It's the 3rd Thursday of each month, 7 o'clock. And we've filled the board. When we first started it, I think we had 3, and 1 was about to leave at that time. We now have a full 5-person board, and they all seem like they're going to be staying around for a while. Next one. Code enforcement. We took over code enforcement July 20th of 14. Currently, we have 98 cases open. We've closed 57 cases, and we have still 93 cases left from our predecessor in code enforcement. We have also identified 12 homes that we are hoping will, one way or another, be demolished, working with the city manager on a plan to start tackling those one at a time. It's not going to happen immediately, happen one at a time, but we're going to get there eventually. Okay, next one. 911 addressing. Took over this last month. It's when someone builds a house, they're going to need an address. We will go in and assign them an address, and additionally, we have just got onto a computer program where we can hook up that address with the 911 system so that when you call, dispatch knows where you're calling from. And unfortunately, about 10% of the homes in Raton were not hooked up correctly. Mr. City Manager, you were one of them. We've already corrected it, don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Let's see, next one. Bee removal, pest removal. Yeah, we do have animal control, but animal control actually calls us when we have something like beehives, hornet's nest, snakes, things like that, because we have all the protective equipment and the air and everything like that. Next one, rescue. Auto extrication, ice rescue, swift water rescue, rope rescue. We're all trained in all of those, and it takes constant training. Next one. Vehicle maintenance. When possible, we'll do our vehicle maintenance ourselves. We'll try and fix it. If we can't, we will then take it and have it repaired at a shop. Sometimes we have to take them all the way up to Pueblo. A lot of times we can take it across the street or to the Ford dealership. Okay, next. Station maintenance. It's more than just cleaning and pushing a vacuum around. When we decide that a station needs to be painted, we don't go and get bids, and we don't get a contractor in. We don't call our building department. We'll just go down to Ace, get a gallon of paint, and our staff will paint the building ourselves. We get it done. It's quickest, easiest that way. Next one. Inspections. We mentioned inspections before. We're starting to do inspections. We'll be inspecting fire suppression systems, sprinklers, detectors, anything to do with fires, new buildings, old buildings. Next one. Toys for Tots. Every December we do the collection. We help with the wrapping. We usually get a lot of volunteers to do the wrapping, and then we disperse the toys. Final one for that. And of course, July 4th, firework display. It takes us about a week to set up for that, 20 minutes to shoot the show, and then probably about another 6 hours to tear it down that night. It's a big event, and we just sent 2 people down to Roswell for another class. We hope this show is going to be as good or better than the ones in the past. Okay, next one. Locations. We have 5 stations. Click. First one is our station number 1 on the corner of 2nd and Clark. That's our main station right now. It's a 100-year-old building. We have pictures of horse-drawn fire engines being pulled out of that building. Once we're done with other projects, we're going to have to probably do some little work on that place. Next one is Station 2. That's the one we're working on right now. We've added a new building there. In fact, probably as we're speaking, we have some firefighters over there doing some framing work. And I'll talk about that a little bit in a second here too. Station 3 is over on Hospital Drive next to the dip. It's a substation. It's just housing 2 pieces of equipment, but it does help us with ISO and house the equipment. Station 4 is our training center. Is over on the other side of the railroad tracks over by BTU. Besides housing equipment, it has classrooms, training props, burn buildings, rappelling towers, everything that we need for that. And the last one, it's not really on the map, but it's out by the airport, and it will help us, especially if we get additional aircraft out there and ISO points again. Okay. Next one. What type of equipment do we have? Click. Okay, we've scaled down some. We've gotten rid of a lot of surplus equipment. We now have 5 engines, 5 ambulances, 3 brush trucks. We're on the market. That's one of our goals, is get another brush truck, hopefully within the next year or 2. We have 2 ladder trucks and 1 special operations vehicle. That special operations is really special. It acts as a command post. It has radios in it. It has the ability to receive one channel, switch it over, and then send it out on another channel. So I can talk to the police on our fire channel. It also carries a majority of our hazmat equipment, our extrication equipment, our rope rescue, ice rescue. It really is quite an asset to us and the community. Okay. By getting rid of all that surplus equipment, it's stuff that we don't have to maintain, we don't have to insure, we don't have to store, and we don't have to spend hours of doing maintenance and checks on it. So far in the last year and a half, we've gotten rid of 13 pieces of equipment. Staffing, in 2006, we were at our peak at 22 full-time firefighters and 6 paid on call. Currently, we're at 15 and 5 paid on call drivers, but we are supplementing that with our auto and mutual aid agreements, and we're going to keep working on those. ISO, which is up on the board, you knew I was going to talk about that. In 2004, we went from a 6 to a 4. 2006, we got audited again, and we went from a 4 to a 2. Less than 2% of the cities across the nation are an ISO 2 or better. To get to a 1, we're going to need a whole lot more staffing. Probably going to wait on that for a little bit. But it is my goal when I became chief to keep this ISO 2, and I will do everything that I can to keep that 2. What's the ISO do for us? Keeps our insurance rates low. It draws in prospective businesses. They see that we're an ISO 2. They know that the insurance rates are low. They know that we have great water supply, and they know that they have great fire protection. It's just one more incentive for them to move to Raton. Okay? And plus, it increases fire fund money. One of the things that ISO really requires is training. Okay? As you can see their training, they want every firefighter to be at firefighter level 2. Well, to get to 2, you have to have all those trainings above it. They want every officer to be at fire officer training. To get to the fire officer training, you have to have all those. And those aren't 2-hour training classes. Those are 40 and 80-hour training classes we're talking about down in Socorro. We've recently got 2 instructors now that we can teach in-house just to our folks, and we are working so we can teach it to other departments also. Okay? Additionally to fire, we have medical, CPR, EMT basic, EMT advanced, paramedic, continuing education. All those hours of training, every firefighter has to invest in and do on time. And then there's hazmat, weapons of mass destruction, rad, nuke, decon, whip. They're all continuing education. These are not things we learn once and then forget about. We have to constantly train and continue to recertify and prove that we've got this training. And we have tons of training records that will eventually be audited at our next ISO. I know money is always top of the line. A lot of times people come here, ask for money. I'm not doing that today. I'm going to show you, though, some of the money that we are bringing in. One click. Wildland fires. I mentioned the RMP. This year has been an extremely fortunate year. I'm talking from fiscal year July to July. We've only made about $1,000. Something still might happen between now and July. The year prior, we brought in $130,000. Next. Planning and zoning, we brought in about $2,000 in fees. Wildland fire grants, about $5,000. WIP grant, we get this every year, $7,000. Employee reimbursement grants, this is a lot from Goodwill that we've been working with, about $10,000 we've gotten. And these are all rounded off too. EMS grants and funding, $35,000. Surplus equipment sales, those 13 vehicles we sold, $45,000 we brought in for that. Fire grants, $95,000. New station location. Between some of the bids we got for them to do the work that we are doing, we are saving in excess of $100,000 by the firefighters actually going there, doing the framing work, doing the finishing work. We're working under a contractor, everything's to code, but we are doing the labor on both extra duty that we have and volunteering on our weekends, coming and doing it on our own. Next one. State Fire Fund, we brought in about $350,000 this year. And EMS revenue, we are on pace for $455,000 bringing in just this calendar year. So far, to date, we brought in $265,000. That gives us a total for the year of $1,105,000 the fire department has brought in. If you're wondering how that compares to our general fund budget for the year, $1,040,000. Not too bad of an investment, really. On the horizon, what's on the future? Okay. Fire-wise, I was telling you about making our city, community safer against wildfires. There's a program called Fire-wise. It's not really ran by the government or the fire station. It's ran by the citizens. We're going to get them involved. You're probably going to hear me on the radio talking about it, trying to get some volunteers in on it. And it's to get them educated so they know what to do with their own home, their roof, their vegetation to make their home safer. Different neighborhoods, it'll make the whole community safer as a whole, and plus make us more qualified for additional grants. Next one. We have some of the best equipment in the state, and we want to keep it that way. So as things start getting old, we will need to replace it. Nothing immediate, but every few years, some things will need to be replaced. Okay, the work we're doing on the new station, I am probably overly optimistic, but I'm hoping before fall gets here, we're done and moved into that building. Last couple of days, there's been a whole lot of activity going on over there, and like I said, we still have guys right now, at this moment, over there working. Next one. Mutual aid. Probably as long as I'm chief, I'm going to be pursuing mutual aid agreements. I think that's next on your agenda. Every neighbor that we have, both sides of the border, county, city, private, I want to get as much help as we can if we have a problem. And if they're having a problem, I want to do all I can to help our neighbors out. Okay. Go ahead and click it. So in conclusion, and you're probably thinking, finally, this is our profession. It may be exciting, it's sometimes boring, and sometimes tragic, but no matter how mundane or hazardous, we'll always be there for you, and we'll never let you down. That's all I had, and I'm open to any questions.
Thank you, Chief. I'd like to commend you, Chief, for all the training. I know what you go through on training, so
Thank you very much.
it takes a lot of time.
I will pass it on to all of our firefighters. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could, Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, just comment that, from time to time, I get the question, what is the city doing? And I think the expectation is the city will be very active in community development, economic development, those kind of things, as we talked about last night. And I think the city definitely has a role, but our basic mission is to provide good basic services. And I did ask the chief to give you a presentation on his department because we have a full-time professional fire department that is on duty every minute of every day, and we take that for granted. And I think it's really something to see the capability of our department that we have here and what they do provide to the citizens, something that we take for granted. Now, as we go forward, I think the first meeting of every month, we will have a department head come to you. It's a chance for you to interact directly with the department head. A lot of times the information gets filtered from them to me and you, but this is a chance for you to interact with these department heads, ask them questions, and get specific information about what they're working on, as you see here. So it's also a chance for them to present to you what their vision is of the department. But this is one component. We also have a full-time professional police department that's on duty, and I've asked Chief Garcia to address you next month. Every minute of every day, those are things that we take for granted. We provide water services, we provide electrical power, our utilities are operating every minute of every day. So those are things that we don't think about when we think about the services of the city, but to the gentleman that you see here, those primary services, and that's our goal, to provide some of the best basic services, and as a small municipality, that is one of our primary goals. As we talked about last night, definitely we have a role, and we're interested in the economic development aspect also, but this is something that we need to provide continuously, and you can see the kind of effort that goes into providing these services. So we hope to bring that to you on a monthly basis, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Mayor and City Manager, I appreciate the fact that these guys can come in here and inform us of what the heck is going on. Because like you do say, we get passed in the street, and it happens every day, or at the store. What are you doing? What are you doing for us? What is the city doing for us? And it happens all the time. Well, those are the people that are complaining about something like that haven't taken the time to dwell in and find out exactly what it takes for them to have the amenities that they do have. So I appreciate that we're going to get to talk to all of the heads.
Absolutely, I think it's a great idea, great concept. All right, thank you, Chief, appreciate it. Okay, item D, as the Chief mentioned, we need to deliberate and act on a mutual aid agreement between the Raton Fire and Emergency Services and the Springer Fire Department. Mr. Berry?
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, as Chief explained, again, mutual aid agreement with Springer Fire Department and our Raton Fire and Emergency Services. It is a couple of small agencies that here in the agreement are agreeing to provide support to each other, share resources. Important for a couple of small agencies to do that, and we've had them come up and help us, and of course reciprocate on that. So an agreement that we've had in place prior to this, and we would like to continue that relationship. Again, Chief will be available to answer any specific questions that you might have on the agreement. You can see that the town of Springer has ratified the agreement and executed it.
Are there any questions for Chief Mathews? Okay.
I don't have any, Chief.
No questions?
Absolutely, we need to help each other out in this neck of the woods every chance we get. So I will entertain a motion to accept the mutual aid agreement between Raton Fire and Emergency Services and Springer Fire Department.
I'll make a motion to approve the mutual agreement between the Raton Fire and Emergency Services and Spring Fire Department.
I will second that motion.
Motion and a second. Trish, why don't we do a roll call vote on this one, please?
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Commissioner Giacomo?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item H, deliberate and act on a cost proposal for professional services / engineering design for the Cook Avenue, Park Avenue Storm Drainage Project. Mr. Berry.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, we have some funding from capital outlay through the previous legislative session, 2014, in the amount of $200,000, and the legislation is anticipated for drainage improvements and related street improvements in our downtown area, original town site area. After taking a scoping evaluation of the area, what we propose to do in this project is improve existing storm drainage on Cook Avenue and Park Avenue at the intersections of 3rd Street, 4th Street, and 5th Street. So right now, that system is in place. It's not really functional. So we see all that drainage is on the surface. And by the time it gets down to 3rd, 2nd Street, and 1st Street, we see some flooding conditions. And we've talked about some of the flooding on Cook and Park in the past. And we did phase one of that, which was a project on half of Park. This would then supplement that and restore functionality of that existing storm drainage system. So what you see here is a cost proposal submitted by Engineering Analytics. They were the firm selected for our on-call services, and we would authorize them to proceed with the design of the project. And I hope you have that in your packet. What I would suggest, Commissioners, if we could maybe talk about this after item K, we'll round that up for you.
Okay, sounds good. So then we will postpone temporarily item H till after item K. Okay. Item I, deliberate and act on an agreement between the City of Raton and the Raton Country Club for the lease of the city's governmental liquor license. Mr. Barry.
Mayor Pro Tem Commission, it's an item we've talked about several times, a request for proposals to manage the liquor license at the Raton Convention Center was issued previously. You acted upon that, selected Raton Country Club. This is the agreement, and Tricia, am I correct that we did complete the review by Risk Management Municipal League? So this has been reviewed by our risk management people. You see the terms of the agreement. We look forward to completing this and obtaining the license. We're ready to submit the application on the license. We have had a couple of things to complete there and get this done timely for some events that we have planned coming up late spring, early summer.
What is the timeframe, do you think, for the license approval?
Mayor Pro Tem, we would anticipate submission of that. What's required is that the city name a resident agent. They wanted to see the city manager. There is a server certification that goes with that. So I would have to complete that server certification online. Other than that, the application is ready to go. I will be out of town tomorrow, so that's probably going to take place Thursday, Friday. So we want to get the application submitted by the end of the week. They tell me there that it would take about a month for them to process it, and then it comes back to the commission for your action. So then the time frame is in our hands and how quickly we can act here. So we think we can do that. There's some public hearings required and some postings. But we would hope that we can do that within a 3 to 4 week period here and be ready to go. So I think from this date, we're looking at about 60 days.
Any other questions or comments?
I do know that we have several people standing in the wings that need this so that we can facilitate the convention center. And it's going to pay for itself in nothing but.
And our city manager's going to serve.
Mm-hmm. Way to go.
Yeah, I will entertain a motion to accept this agreement between the City of Raton and Raton Country Club.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. Got motion is second. Trish, could we do roll call on this, please?
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Commissioner Giacomo,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Sagrada.
Yes. Okay, item J now is the city manager's report.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, I did talk to the contractor that Northern Mountain Construction that will be initiating the South Interchange project, and he tells me that they will commence construction in 2 to 3 weeks. And then I think that project will go maybe 4 months or so. So we'll see construction on that South Interchange coming up, and of course there's a little inconvenience for traffic coming off of the interstate and accessing businesses in the south end of town. We will try to make an effort of communications between DOT, the contractor, and those businesses as far as directing that traffic to get to those south businesses. But we should see that construction start 2 to 3 weeks. I would remind the commission that we do have a meeting set up. Congressman Lou Hahn is coming to Raton on March 12th. His schedule is to be at the convention center, and we'll meet in the Bruce King room downstairs, and that is approximately 8:15 to 9:15, and he specifically wants to talk about economic development issues in the area at the convention center. But following that, he will come to City Hall. He'll meet in the commission chambers here, 9:30 to 10:30, and I think the emphasis, I think everyone is invited, but the emphasis there is Veterans Affairs, so they tell me. So March 12th, the morning of March 12th, Congressman Lujan will be here. We've had our Public Works crew commence their spring program. We're currently inspecting drainage facilities, drainage channels. Over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of sedimentation accumulate because of drought conditions, and when that happens and we get a big rain and we don't have a lot of vegetation to hold that back, we see some erosion. So you might have seen the crew on Pecos and South Fifth. We have some spots that they're removing that sedimentation and restoring these drainage channels. So we'll be doing that over the next couple of months. Asphalt patching, a lot of our streets were hit hard by the snow and ice, and we appreciate the moisture, but really tough on these streets. So we'll be out trying to patch those. Particularly, we've got comments on Tiger Drive, and we are working to get the Tiger Drive project ready to go. And the goal is that when school is out, we'll commence that project, and that's resurfacing under an MAP grant. We'll have to do some patching in the meantime, but that's one of those on our list. And then trying to get back to the cleanup. We would probably wash down these 2nd Street medians and streets again later in the year, probably in April. So right now we'll be running the street sweeper on those. Parks crew is getting very active as far as getting parks ready, particularly the ball fields. So we'll be out doing that. That's what I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments or anything for Mr. Brink? Okay, at this time then I would entertain a motion to go into closed executive session pursuant to NMSA 10-15-1H2 AFSCME collective bargaining.
I'll make the motion to go into closed session for collective bargaining.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second?
We have a second. All in favor, vote by sign aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We're in closed session. Thank you.